the top of the hour. We're going to give you guys enough time to get those bets in for the primetime games, and that's what we do here on the drive-thru Monday through Friday here at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Is over live free sports picks for the games beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern Time and later. To deliver those winners, our professional handicappers over at Pick Dogs and Sports Chat Place. Let's take a peek at who's on the show with us today. All right, with us, David Racey with us. Got Brian Bitler, Rod Zawacky, and Jay Briggs. Here's how the lineup for this evening. Bitler, Racey, Briggs, Zawacky, and then I will close this one out. We've hit the All-Star break. We got picks here from season win totals. We'll do a little rundown of the NBA Summer League with Jay. We do have a game beginning here top of the hour, but we'll get coverage on all the games from the NBA Summer League. And we do have a home run prop for you as well from this home run derby. So let's get this one underway. Let's welcome in Brian Bitler. We'll catch him over at Pick Dogs Premium. We'll bring in Brian right now. We'll see if we get him ready to roll here to start off another week here on the drive-thru. Brian, what's happening?
I tell you, always excited here to be on the drive-thru on Monday, even when there's no sports on the card. One of those rare times where we actually get a day off. But even on days off, we're looking forward into football, and that's what I was doing today. Definitely have some futures bets that I like, and I'm going to share one of them with you guys tonight.
All right, Brian, looking at the future here, one of the surprise teams from last year was this Jacksonville Jaguar team.
Yeah, everybody knows that there's two teams that I love to bet on, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New York Jets. But this is one of the teams I'm going to ride here, the Jacksonville Jaguars, to go over 9.5 wins. Jacksonville has been a team I've bet on pretty heavy over the last few years, and we should see the Jaguars, I think, take a step forward. I think this team has a solid shot this year at making the Super Bowl with Trevor Lawrence in his third year and some real maturity at other key positions. You got to remember Calvin Ridley was picked up by the Jags, and this guy has massive talent. And he had some problems, mental problems. He had to sit out a little bit, and then he got busted for gambling. I think all in all, the Jaguars might have the weakest division in football. Texans, you should be better, but they definitely have position issues across the board. Really need C.J. Stroud to develop fast. And then you look at the Indianapolis Colts. Gardner Minshew looks like he'll probably be their starting quarterback. And if you look at the Jaguars' schedule in depth, their hardest games, the Ravens, Bengals, 49ers, and Chiefs, are all played in Jacksonville. I see this Jags team getting to 11 wins this year, so I like the over 9.5 wins for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Over 9.5 wins here from Brian, so that means 10-7 will get the money here in the 17 game schedule. They get the NFC South this year. Do the Jaguars, and the extra game from the NFC will be a game against the San Francisco 49ers at home here. So they get that one. And of course, they do get the tough AFC teams here for the Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. So they do draw that tough division.
For sure, that AFC North division is going to be a real it's going to be a real fisticuffs going on there. But I think the Jaguars, the tough games that I mentioned at home, if they can get some wins against those teams and then mix in their division wins, Trevor Lawrence in his third year, I think you're going to see a real superstar there at quarterback this year.
This is a division winner, so that means they got to play the division winners from the other divisions in the AFC. So they're going to be drawing here a game against Buffalo. This one is at home against Buffalo, so they get Buffalo there, and of course they know they're going to get that Cincinnati. That's a game we know they're going to get, but they will have to get Buffalo. They get Pittsburgh on the road as well. So we're seeing here, and I'm sorry, the other game here will be Kansas City. So the two divisional winners from the other divisions, AFC West, they get Kansas City here at home, and they get, as we said earlier here, Buffalo here as well.
Definitely, for sure. And, the games you got to win are your home games. You remember how hot Florida is in the wintertime. So getting those teams in Jacksonville should be a big advantage for them. And hopefully we see advancements from their defense, which they were really drafted young, had some young talent on the defensive side of the ball. I think that's going to be the key to the Jaguars in Lawrence's third year to get them further on in the playoffs, maybe knock off the Chiefs.
Yeah, as you said, some interesting games here for this Jaguar team. Also, the coach here, Doug Peterson, you know him there from the Eagles. I thought it was a good hire. There were some folks that were a little concerned about it, but again, one of the best turnarounds here, 1 year turnaround by any first year head coach. Remember, the year before they were just 3-7.
He's one of Mitch's favorite guys, isn't he, Doug?
Yeah, he's one of Mitch's favorite guys. Yeah.
But he does produce results. You saw what Jacksonville was like in Trevor Lawrence's first year. Then they got a real head coach. Now, I'm not a huge Doug Peterson guy, but look what he did for the Philadelphia Eagles. and it seems to be working in Jacksonville, at least in the second half of the season. I think that carries over this year.
Yeah, and one of the things they've done here is try to protect Lawrence, right, with that offensive line. They've got to continue to do what they've done here and protect Lawrence. That was the biggest issue in Lawrence's early time here with Jacksonville, was get that pass protection, which showed improvement here. Remember, they win 6 of the last 7 games.
And remember, that's what they did in Philadelphia. They had that massive offensive line for the Eagles, and that really, I think that's where you got to start at is on the offensive line. You got to protect the quarterback, because once he goes down, the guys behind him, we saw what happened with the San Francisco 49ers. Although Trey Lance, I don't know, could have an MVP year for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yep,
we'll see. A Trey Lance guy.
Yeah, a big Lance guy there here for Brian Bitler. Likes to be contrarian. That's the thing, and I can respect that, because I remember on this exact show last year, I was on the Seahawks over win total, and that was definitely unpopular amongst everyone. Everybody had, they're going to win 2 games, 1 game. I said, no way. Pete Carroll, this is what he loves to do. He loves to rebuild teams.
Yep, the Mr. Go, Roo, rah, rah, rah. Pete Carroll, he can get a team excited. I'll tell you, Seattle, they're always a contender with him and head coach. Who saw that? Who saw the Seattle Seahawks having a year like they did last year?
I followed Geno Smith in the later parts of 2021, showing improvement. I thought it was a good move to keep Geno in, get Russell out, and then put some money around him and get some defense. So we'll see how that rolls. They re-signed Geno, and they got some money to spend to rebuild it. But anyway, we're on the Jacksonville Jaguars here. That's the topic today. Over 9.5 wins in this NFL season come up for 2023. All right, Brian, let's take a look over at Pick Dog Prim as we halfway point in baseball. Brian with fantastic numbers in baseball, 918 units of profit for the year, all documented over at Pick Dogs Prim. What do you have going on over at the site?
I'll tell you what, it might be an off day, but I got my Major League Baseball All-Star Easy Rider up. You can get my play on tomorrow's All-Star game for just $15 over at pickdogs.com. Also, keep your eyes open in the near short-term future, the Christmas in July special. That's just around the corner. But definitely baseball, you're going to want to watch me in the second half, as hopefully I produce the same profit I did in the first half.
That's right, guys. I got with Brian Bitler over at Pick Dogs. Guys, MLB Easy Rider here, all-star pick right now. So get on board there with Brian. Keep an eye on that Christmas in July special. There'll be some specials here as we hit the All-Star break. So get on board with Brian Bitler over at Pick Dogs. Let's get that maybe that 1-year all sports pass when that Christmas in July pass comes up here in just a few days, or short won't be long at all. So get on board. Pick is a promo code. You'll save that 15% off. All right, Brian. It's always great having you show. Have yourself a great rest of the week, and we'll catch up with you again on Friday.
I'll tell you what, I really enjoyed talking some football with you, Tony. We probably could have gone on longer, but I know everybody's waiting to move on with the show. But I'll catch you on Friday, and we'll be back to talking baseball.
That's right. I'll catch you Friday when we have our full baseball card. Everybody back to work in Major League Baseball. No rain makeup games Thursday this year. I think it was Yankees Boston last year on that Thursday.
We'll have WNBA on Thursday, so
that's right.
All right. At least
that's
I think
all right.
we will.
We may. I believe we do. We have some games tomorrow. All right, Brian, have a great night. We'll catch up with you again next week. Brian Bitler here on the drive-thru. All right, you got it. Let's continue here on the drive-thru. College football in the mind here. We got some college football coming up here with David Racey. Catch him over at Pick Dog Stream, one of the writers over at Pick Dog Stream. So he has no problem coming to the plate here on All-Star break here with a pick for you guys. So we'll bring him in right now. David Racey, catch him over at Pick Dog Stream. David, what's happening? We don't have any sound from you there, David. You had sound on the previous show. Let's see if we get your sound up here.
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you now. David here on an emergency phone as we were having some issues with the computer. I won't use the word you used for it on here, but it was some choice words for his laptop. Anyway, David, we're going college football. And, boy, one of the teams that was really hard to watch last year.
Oh, yeah. We're looking at the Iowa Hawkeyes, and you're right. Offensively, they were terrible, and it was hard to watch those games. If you defense, I like to tune in there, but offensively, they were one of the worst teams in the country. But I'm looking at their win total, and I like the over 8 wins for Iowa here. They draw a somewhat favorable schedule. They avoid Michigan. They avoid Ohio State. They have 3 winnable games to start the season. They play at home against Utah State, on the road against Iowa State, which could go either way. Those teams battle it out every single year. And then at home against Western Michigan. So pretty decent non-conference schedule. And like I said, they avoid Ohio State. They avoid Michigan. They do have to go to Penn State which is not going to be fun for them. But they host Michigan State, they host Purdue, they host Minnesota. They do have to go on the road to Wisconsin, which could be tough as well. But I like this over 8 for Iowa, and I think Iowa to win the West at plus 280 is also a decent bet. It's going to probably come down to that game in Wisconsin, but Wisconsin's going to be kind of an unknown this year with some changes there, so it may take them a little bit to get going. So I like this over 8. When you're looking at personnel, Iowa brought in Cade McNamara from Michigan, who helped lead them to the playoff 2 years ago. They brought in a tight end from Michigan as well. Their running back, Caleb Johnson, he was the leading rusher last year. They returned him. They returned their offensive line, which isn't always a good thing because they were not very good last year, but they at least have some experience. The defense lost a good amount of production, but Iowa's defense and special teams have been very good for years now. So I have no doubt they'll reload, and I like that Iowa over 8 here.
Iowa over 8 here from David Racey here. The other non-conference game is Nebraska. We always forget about that one to close the season here. Nebraska in that mix there. Actually, they are in the conference, but it is always the last game there at Nebraska. It could be kind of a tricky spot there because it is a Friday. That will be a short week. We'll see how that goes. They do get Northwestern in Wrigley Field. Northwestern is a team that's dealing with some scandals, so we'll see how that head coaching situation is. It's been a poor past couple of seasons for this Nebraska, for this Northwestern team. Michigan State, who knows what you're going to get from Michigan State, right?
Yeah, I went to Michigan State, and yeah, they've fallen off quite a bit, and yeah, this year I don't expect much from them. But you're right, that Nebraska game on the road to end the season, it's not going to be easy. Nebraska has talent. You know, we've seen them just trip over themselves time and time again. So that won't be easy either. But I think it's very lucky to not have to play Michigan or Ohio State. And that West is wide open, you know. And if Iowa's defense they don't even need to be as good as they were last year. If they can just resemble something, I think that offense is going to be vastly improved. And, you know, getting to 9 wins, I don't think is a tall task.
With Mack there being an experienced player, there are 9 experienced starters there for Iowa, 7 on the defense. So there isn't a whole lot of turnover. We'll see how the backups do. Of course, they're always called into action. You always got that ugly game at Iowa State here. Utah State, some years are tough, some years are not. We'll see. They're coming off of the Mountain West Championship last year, so that one could be interesting. Western Michigan's another team that these are not easy non-conference opponents. These are not, what you call your typical cupcakes, Western Michigan and Utah State, but that one at Iowa State can be also a little tricky.
Yeah, and they're not. I mean, they're not cupcakes considering some of these other teams we see their schedules. But I really, this team should not be losing at home to Utah State, at home to Western Michigan. And yeah, that Iowa State one, that's tricky. It always is. It doesn't matter how good those teams are. Every year they seem to go down right to the wire. But yeah, that offense, they were, like I said, one of the worst offenses in the country last year. They bring in McNamara. They bring in Eric All, who's the tight end from Michigan. They return Luke Leakey. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but he scored 4 receiving touchdowns for them, which was like a minor miracle considering their offense was so bad. So that offense, I do think, is going to be decent. And then defensively, like you said, they return the majority of their guys. They do lose some really good players, but if you look at some of their rankings, like ESPN has Iowa's defense ranked 7th going into this year, which is kind of crazy to me, but they're obviously high on them, so they should believe in the 4 backups that will be filling in.
Yeah, and of course Iowa again. I think they're built to beat these teams. Utah State, Western Michigan. Usually those games they have that big advantage there on the offensive defensive line, just outpowering some of these mid-major schools. Yeah,
and they'll just run over them, right? They'll be able to ease McNamara into their offense, and you're right. They dominate the trenches and should put up some good numbers there. And it gets into the Big Ten play. Like you said, Northwestern's at Wrigley Field. So neutral site there, but they got Rutgers, which we know is never great. Illinois, it'll be interesting to see how Illinois is. Can Illinois keep it up? Illinois has had a couple of decent years. Can they keep it up, or are they going to fall off? So the West is wide open in the Big Ten. You know, it truly is. And I know Wisconsin's a decent favorite to win it. I just think they're going to have some they'll be slow starting as they get used to a new system and all that. I think. I mean, what do you think about Wisconsin?
Yeah, that's the Ferentz, 25 years there. That's been a long time. I like the quarterback change. Can they get obviously the defense is always there, right? I mean, you look at points allowed. I mean, it's usually in the low 20s at all, sometimes in the high teens. The way this defense is, it's just phenomenal. But man, can McNamara really help this team? I mean, last year just 17.7 points a game. You got to go up from there. The defense. Look at this. Last year, the defense allowed 13 points a game. Prior to that 19, prior to that 6. The last, since 2016, they didn't have an average of 20 points. There has been less than 20 points a game they've given up.
It's crazy. Oh, good. I expect them to keep it up, and yeah, I mean, I think they have a good shot at it. But what do you think about Wisconsin this year?
Yeah, this Wisconsin team, it seems that it's going the opposite direction. The game I think that's got my attention there, that Purdue game is always crazy because these are bowl teams, right? Because Purdue, you don't know, are they going to be 6-6? Are going to be there's are teams here on this schedule that are either going to be 6-6, 5-7, 7-5. These are your Michigan States, your Purdue's, your Minnesotas, your Northwesterns, your Rutgers, your Illinois. Those are the games you're going to have to win.
Right, yeah, it's going to be a big collection of 6, 7, and 5. You're absolutely right. And then it's always funny how it works out this way, how the side of the Big Ten is always clustered. And, the other side of the Big Ten has all the big boys. It's funny. It's funny how that works out.
You can throw Nebraska in that mix too. Of those 5-7 could be 5-7 or 7-5. That's what they're going to have to take care of business against those teams because at Wisconsin, at Penn State's going to be the tough one. You can't lose more than 3 here, so you can those are going to be the toughest ones, no doubt. And then of course take care of business here at Iowa State, possibly, or at Nebraska to close the season. But take care of the game at Wrigley. We'll see how Northwestern could be a team that's spiraling downwards. It looks to me they want to get them out of there. That's how it looks to me like.
Yeah. Everybody overlooked it, but they're top 5 going into the will.
All right, David here on Iowa over 8 wins. All right, David, let's take a look over at Pick Dodge Print for tonight. See if we can get that audio a little choppy there at the end. Let's take a look over at Pick Dodge Print for tonight. Actually, tonight's action, there will be action here. All-Star game, of course. We're hitting the All-Star weekend here. All-Star break, I should say. What do you have? We're showing some results here. What do you have going on planning over at Pick Dodge Print? Good results here for the baseball this season.
Yeah, Tony, I don't have anything right now up. I will have a play on the All-Star game up tonight. But as of right now, there's nothing I have lined up. It's been a decent start to the baseball season, so I look forward to getting after it for the second half and going into the fall for football.
All right, there you go from David Racey. So get on board with David Racey over at Pick Dodge Print. We'll have play up there tomorrow, as well as get the long-term pass. We're expecting Christmas in July to hit any minute now, where we'll have some good discounts here on the long-term passes. That 1-year pass, keep an eye on it from David. Good results here from baseball. All right, David, as always, great having you show. Have a great rest of the week. We'll catch up with you next week.
All right, thank you, Tony.
You got it. David Racey here on the drive-thru. Let's continue our coverage here, guys. Up next, let's bring in Jay Briggs. You'll catch him over at Pick Dodge Print. We'll bring Jay in right now. Going to give us a Summer League rundown, of the game today. We know there's a game in progress, but we'll get the odds up the screen up for you with the games. Let's bring in Jay in right now. I think we're ready to roll. Let's bring him in right now. See if Jay's ready to roll with us here. Jay, what's happening? Jay, you're on mute there, Jay. You're still on mute. Yep, got it. You're coming through muted. Let's see. I guess Jay is just going to sign out. I can hear you now, Jay. Can hear you now. All right. We're going to do a Summer League rundown on some of the games. We do have one in progress. But just before we get started with the rundown, just give us your assessment so far what we've seen in the Summer League. We know we started in California and Utah, and then we're into Vegas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We've seen a lot of great Summer League action already to start. The Sacramento League was a lot of fun, and the Utah one was as well. I think they just played 2 games apiece in that one. And now we're at the big one, the Las Vegas one, the one with all the eyeballs on it. We've seen a lot of young guys. We've seen Wemby. We've now seen Miller. We've seen Scoot. We've seen both the twins. So we've seen pretty much all the young guys get in there, get some work, which is really what the Summer League's about. And, the guys getting their feet wet and having some fun and getting ready for the NBA season.
That's right, indeed. It's getting exciting indeed here in this Summer League. A lot of excitement. It's always fun when they go to Vegas. I've been there several times to see the Vegas Summer League. Even when it was back in the day when they used to play in Long Beach, out here in the Long Beach Arena, it was always fun. But we'll go ahead and do a rundown here with Jay. We'll take a look at some of the games for today as action. We'll go ahead and begin here with this Grizzlies. We just started here with this Grizzlies and Cavaliers game. If they're in total here, we saw the Grizz a favorite 3.5 now, 22-19 here, closed the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, so I had liked Memphis in this game, but as I said in the video today, this Cleveland team is a team that I don't firmly have a grasp on. I'm not quite sure why they're playing at such a high level. They're playing extremely well right now. They're up 22-19 in this game. They're 2-0 in the Las Vegas Summer League, and they got Isaiah Mobley, but other than that, and Amani Bates, other than that, it's just a lot of guys just going out there getting it done. So Cleveland is going to be a team we have to keep our eyes on in this Summer League. I said coming into this one, I think Memphis was one of the better teams there with Kenny Lofton and David Roddy and the guys, but we got to keep our eye on this Cleveland team, man. They've been hooping here recently.
All right, we got a game here starting in about 5 minutes here. Suns and the Heat. We see the Heat going to be 5.5-point favorites, total 178.5.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The Heat, they're playing extremely well right now as well, 1-0. They beat up on the Celtics first game. The Suns, they lost by 9 to Milwaukee. I think the line is exactly right where it should be. Miami being a nice size favorite. Do I feel comfortable laying those points with Miami in this Summer League game? I do not. I can see this more so being a game if you're going to parlay some of these Summer League games. Hey, trust me, I no judgment here. I get how it be sometimes. I place parlays too. And if you aren't one of those guys, I think Miami on the money line is a great place to be as a parlay filler. I see no way they lose this game. I like their young guys they have in there. I think Jovic is going to be a nice piece. We saw him get some minutes for Miami this past season. Their guy that they picked up in the draft this year, he played good game one. I think we see another good game from him today as well. And I'm leaning Miami. If you were to lay the points, I would lean Miami laying the points. That would be my assessment for this. I think Miami wins it for sure, and I lean them laying the points against this Suns team. The Suns, this is a team that, doesn't have any draft picks moving forward, so they're drafting a lot of lower-tier guys, don't really have a great farm system. They're top-heavy, and I think we kind of see that in the Summer League.
There we go from Jay here on his Summer League breakdown with us. We'll continue on here on the games for tonight's action here from the NBA Summer League as we'll get to the next game here on the board. As we look here at this one here between the 76ers and Mavericks, we've got the Mavs favorite here 4.5 with a total of 185.5.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got my favorite team, the Mavs, man. And as I said on the jam session earlier today, my favorite play, if I had one in the Summer League, would be the Mavs laying the 4.5 today. In all honesty, the Sixers, they did win their first game, and the Mavs lost their first one. But I think the Mavs are favored by 4.5 for a very good reason. This is a deep Maverick Summer League team with Jaden Hardy, with our top 10 pick in Derek Lively, with McKinley and, Mike Miles Jr. out of TCU. This is a pretty good Mavericks Summer League team, and I think what we look for and what I'm looking for to attack is second-year players that are getting a lot of minutes in the Summer League, and that's the case for Jaden Hardy. We saw a really good game for him, game one, and I'd like them to beat up on the Sixers today. We did see the Mavs lose their first one to the Thunder Buddies, but I think the Thunder are arguably the best team in the Summer League with the two with the two Williams, Chet Holmgren. They're fielding a really good young roster. They're probably the best young roster in the league in Oklahoma City. So the Mavs hung in there tough in that one, not taking too much from that. I think they bounced back today. We saw the Sixers beat the Knicks. When I look at both rosters for the Sixers and the Knicks, nobody really jumps off the page for me for both of those teams. I think that the Mavs show today that they have the more talent, more NBA-ready talent, and I think that they beat up on the Sixers today.
There you go from Jay here on the Mavs side with laying the points. Next up here, 8:30 Eastern Time, NBA TV has Pacers and Magic. Pacers big favorites here, 6.5 with a 181.5 total.
So kind of how I was just talking about the Mavs with Jaden Hardy, a second-year player who's getting serious minutes in the summer league. These are guys who have played at the higher level and now are playing down to their competition or playing competition that's not up to that quite caliber. The Pacers have one of those guys as well in Benedict Mathurin, and I do believe that is why this line is so high. We've seen him have a really good game one against Washington. Guy went for 27 points on 9 of 21 from the field, 6 for 6 from the free throw line. I'm going to be honest. If I were to lean in this game, it would be on the Orlando Magic plus the points. Not my favorite game in the summer league today because I do think Mathurin could get hot and go off again. But I did like what I saw from the Magic hanging tough with Detroit, another team that has a lot of young talent and is playing their young talent with Durant, Ivory, some guys are Wiseman, and some guys are slipping off my mind right now. But I liked what I saw from the Magic in that game one. I like what I saw from Anthony Black. I was a guy who thought maybe the Magic reached a little bit for him, but he had a good game one, and so did their other pick, Jet Howard. I like them to probably get it going again in this one, and I think they can keep this one within the number. So I would lean with the Orlando Magic plus 6.5, even though Benedict Mathurin is on an absolute tear, and I think he continues that.
Yeah, Mathurin, you got to wonder, these rotational guys, will they continue to play through the tournament? that's what you got to wonder, right?
We saw San Antonio shut down Wemby today. We've seen Portland go ahead and shut down Scoot Henderson. We saw who else has been shut down? The Thompson twin for the Rockets has been shut down, so we got to be watching that as well. We saw Sacramento play Keegan Murray the first two games in Sacramento go absolutely bananas, and then now not playing in this summer league. So you're absolutely right, Tony T. It's a day-by-day thing. Got to be watching the rosters. And, hey, it's summer league, man. We don't know what's really going on when they get in the game. They could play the first 10 and sit the rest. So tread lightly, but I'm just trying to give you how I feel on some of these games.
There we go. If they're going to play, they're probably in there to play, right? That's how I would feel this time of the year. T-Wolves and the Jazz going ahead at 10 Eastern Time. This one on ESPNU with the Jazz favorite 3.5 with a total 180.5.
I lean with Minnesota. Minnesota showed me something beating New Orleans the other day in the fashion that they beat them, and I think we can see them have another good game here. These two rosters, when I look at them, I don't love either. This is probably the game that I have the least information on, but in a just small lean, I would lean in the direction of the T-Wolves. I think. All right.
We close out the slate on Monday on NBA TV. Late night game, 10:30 Eastern Time. Clippers and the King Sacramento favorite 2.5 with a total of 179.5.
And I'm rolling with Sacktown in this one. Probably my second favorite game out of all these. Man, I like the Kings to win this one. Like I said, the Kings have been on an absolute tear through all of the Summer League games. I don't think they've lost one yet. Keegan Murray was the story in the first two Summer League games in the Sacramento series. He has not played. Game one of this one, we seen Sacramento open up as a favorite against Atlanta with Keegan Murray supposed to play. They pulled him. The line then flipped to Atlanta, laying the 4. And I told you I still liked Sacramento to win that game. I think they were a deeper team than just Keegan Murray, and I still feel the same. I still think the Sacramento Kings team has enough pieces to get this one done today against the Clippers team, who is kind of in that same mold as the Suns. Like, they have such top echelon talent that their farm system is not the best. Kind of like talking baseball, farm system, but
G League.
But yeah, I don't really trust the back end for this Clippers team. We've seen that with them getting beat by Utah, a team that doesn't have much talent either. And I think Sacramento just continues rolling. Sacramento seems to be a team that's taking these Summer League games extremely serious. And I like them to go ahead and get themselves their 4th straight Summer League win.
There you go. There's a rundown from Jay. We'll just give a quick recap, Jay. Just give the pick you like in the game. Let's start with the game here. The ones that have not started here. Suns Heat, you were on again?
I was on Miami.
Sixers and Mavs?
Mavericks, favorite play on the board tonight in the Summer League.
Pacers, Magic.
Magic. I think the Magic can do enough to keep this game within the number.
T-Wolves, Jazz.
Lean, small lean in the direction of the T-Wolves.
And Kings, Clippers.
Second favorite play on the board, Sacramento Kings. I think they continue rolling in the Summer League.
There you go. You got Jay's rundown here. Well, this is score in progress right now with Cavaliers and the Grizzlies, 30-26 Cleveland here as we play here in the second quarter. Jay, before I let you go, before we take a look over at Pigs, I'd like to get your thoughts here on this NBA tournament that's coming up. At first, I was kind of laughing about it. The more I thought about it, the more I thought, it's not a bad idea. Give a little bit more purpose to the regular season. Maybe if you're going to use some, load management. Maybe you do that around these games. You play your top players in these games because there's a prize pool. There's money to be made. I know for the top end players, probably not significant, but there's a lot of role players out there. Now, if you're one of those team guys, you like to see the players. You like to see the guys on your team get paid. Maybe that adds some motivation to the top line stars to give out a grade A effort performance here to try to help these guys get paid that support them.
Yes, sir. Now, for me, I absolutely love the idea of this tournament. I think the NBA, more so than any other sport, falls victim of, during the regular season, some games just don't matter. Now, I think this can kind of potentially fix that with games at this time of year being very meaningful. There's a reason to play some of these games. Like sometimes we see teams kind of just coast through the season. We see the load management. And early in the season, it kind of takes the emphasis off of some of these games. In the NFL, every game matters. Every game matters. You see it and you can tell it intensity-wise in every game. That's not the case in the NBA, and we all know that. Playoff time, you can definitely tell there's an elevated
intensity
level of play.
Yeah.
Now, with this tournament, Tony T, I think it's going to be just pure fun. We're going to have some meaningful basketball before the playoffs. And I think that's what the NBA wanted to address. And, of course, they're going to make a ton of money doing this as well. We can't forget that factor. But I'm all for it. I think I love, the game-winning shots. We're going to see those come into play. We're going to see I think we're going to see teams maybe like Indiana, teams that are not in that topper echelon, teams that don't really have a chance to probably win the finals or go on a deep playoff run, really put emphasis on trying to win this NBA Cup. And I think it's going to make very interesting basketball. Hey, y'all see, I bet Summer League, so of course I'm excited for more meaningful NBA basketball. So I'm all for it. And I know some of the OGs, they're like, why do it? But I am on the other notion of why not?
Yeah. The thing is, home court advantage seemed to be was bigger back in the old days. I don't think it seems that. And also, too, it's weird this year. We had a 1 seed win the NBA title, and then we had an 8 seed face them, right? We had it's kind of weird because, you don't really have to. The seeding doesn't matter. We've heard teams say that. We heard the Spurs say it a lot. We used to hear we don't need home court to win in the playoffs. We can win on the road. Although some teams really try hard. Denver has the best home court advantage in the league. Don't forget where they play in that high elevation. So they took advantage of the 1 seed. And of course, we saw Miami come from the bottom of the seeding.
Facts. And I think we're in a wide open NBA right now where anything can happen. Like you said, we just saw an 8th seed make a run to the finals, and going in, I don't care what nobody say. Unless you're a Heat fan, you did not see that coming. No. So I think the same thing can be said in this NBA Cup. If the right team catches fire at the right time, the right guys in the mode at the right time, we could see on Orlando Magic, go on a nice run. We could see Indiana Pacers go on a nice run. I think that this tournament is more so for those mid-market teams, for those, not the bottom feeders, not the top feeders, but those mid teams that they're going to have something legitimate to play for and just more fun basketball games that matter earlier in the season.
There you go from Jay's rundown. And of course, a little talk here about this play-in tournament, which will also add to the intrigue of the game, right? To the strategy as we handicap these games teams in, maybe teams out as we get later into this qualifying round, as they split these teams up here and create these pseudo divisions here. as we get headed into that where they play these games in Vegas, there'll be some action there as well. So you're gonna get your money. You can actually go ahead and get a marker, because if you win or lose, you can just pay it from the prize money. So it won't be that bad. All right, Jay, let's just take a look over at Pick Dodge Premium, tonight's action. Of course, it's no really bettable action. Well, maybe folks betting the NBA Summer League. No baseball, I should say, on the board, but we have a really good baseball season going. What will you plan having over at Pick Dodge Premium?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Nothing really for me this week. I mean, I'm not forcing out the Summer League for sale. I'm just giving y'all my plays that I like. So I have that going, and then we'll be back with baseball really soon for the second half of the season. If you rocking with me, rock with me, man. Christmas in July right around the corner. We're going to discount all our packages. So if you rock with me, scoop up one of those the minute it goes live, and watch my NBA jam session as we continue to cook up this Summer League. And baseball right around the corner. I'm going to try to continue to stack the units throughout the season, and I'm just having fun betting sports per usual.
That's right, Fun Bet Sports Guys with Jay Briggs. Keep an eye on that Christmas in July. That 1 year pass always seems to be the best value there, because that's what gets usually the biggest discount. Of course, when that 1 year pass comes out, it'll be every play from the cappers from Jay when he handicaps everything, all the sports, all this baseball, NBA, college basketball, football, college football. He also delves on the ice as well. So you can get on board there with Jay. And, of course, includes all postseason and NFL preseason in there as well. And I know, Jay, didn't you have a really hot preseason?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey. Sometimes I ain't gonna lie to y'all. There's a degenerate in me sometimes, man, and I love betting, man. So I found an edge last year in NFL preseason, and if I have one again this year, and if I see spots to attack, I certainly will do so. So preseason right around the corner. Hall of Fame game on the horizon. I surely can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait. The Hall of Fame game, we're probably about 4 weeks away, right? So we're July 10th. No, probably 3 weeks, right? Yeah, we got 31 days. Yeah, it's on the horizon. Yeah, we're 3 weeks away from the Hall of Fame, so it's coming. It's getting here before we know it. All right, Jay, we'll keep an eye on those NBA Summer League videos, and we'll catch up with you again. Probably do the same thing again tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, quick nugget. Home run derby tonight. I'm going Homer. Adolis Garcia, first round. I think he beats. Or how do you say his name? Ariziana? I can never say his name for Tampa. But I think Adolis gets him. They're good friends. I think he gets him first round. And I don't think sprinkling on Adolis to win the whole thing is a bad idea.
There you go. From Jay Briggs from the MLB Home Run Derby. All right, Jay, have a great night. We'll catch up with you again tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Tony T.
You got it. Jay Briggs here on the drive-thru. Let's continue on here on the drive-thru. More football on the mind. So let's go ahead and bring in Zawacky. He's been good to us here on during the drive-thru. We'll bring him, catch him over at Pick Dogs Premium. Catch him on the morning shows every day at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time during the week. Rod, what's happening?
Not too much. Enjoying my Monday. Definitely enjoyed the day with the dogs and the wife. Now we're gonna get a nice little football total and watch the home run derby.
That's right.
See who wins the home run derby.
See who wins this one. We covered. It's a big. That's like Big Ten Day. We got Iowa covered, but you're gonna be looking at Michigan.
Definitely, we're going to look at Michigan in this one. And as David Racey covered Iowa, well, we know what happened with over there. The Michigan quarterback last year, JJ McCarthy, basically chased the Michigan QB right over there to Iowa. And good thing they don't have to face each other this season at all in Iowa. So maybe if there's a playoff or something, but I'm not seeing
Big Ten title game. That could be.
Yeah, the Big Ten title game. Maybe if Ohio State falls off the map or something, but I just don't see that. Big Ten, it's been Michigan the last couple of years, rolling right along. And you figure Harbaugh was definitely contemplating going to the NFL, but he stayed back this season. And this Michigan team could be the best one that he's got going so far. I like J.J. McCarthy, what we've seen from him last season. 22 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Threw for 2,700 yards and got a nice 79.1 QB rating, ranked 16th on that QB rating. And you look his offensive line. They did lose their best guy on the offensive line, but returning 8 guys from last season that have over 151 starts combined. So that offensive line will definitely be able to protect JJ there as well. And then for the running backs, who he's got to hand the ball off, definitely you get Blake Corum who was injured last season, so not much falling off in the running back department there. He's going to have to find a new top guy that he loves to throw to, as he's now the top guy in offenses now in the NFL. But I think Ronnie Bell steps up for Michigan in that spot and becomes JJ's #1 target. And defensively, well, they returned 73.8% of the defense out production from last season for Michigan. So you know what? I'm going to go with Michigan over their win total here. It's at 10.5. It's big, but you look at their schedule, I don't see a whole lot of losses coming for Michigan this season. They play East Carolina to kick off the year. There should be a win. They play UNLV to kick off the year there. Then they face Bowling Green, Rutgers, Nebraska. I don't see them having any issues with those teams there. Then they face Minnesota. Indiana might be a little bit tough. And then you've got to face your in-state rivalry, Michigan State, October 21st, and that's always a battle, which can go either way. But I think Michigan wins it. I think Michigan State, there's just got too many departures, too many holes, and I just don't think they'll be able to compete. But you look at Purdue. There's a team they face Purdue on November 4th. That'll be a battle there. But the one that really steps out to me is when you look at Penn State here. Penn State, I think they finally have a quarterback. I like this Drew Allar. He's causing quite the stir in Penn State, and that could be quite a battle for Michigan there going forward. And then the last game of the year is against Ohio State, so we could have 11 wins wrapped up and cover this total before we even get to the last game of the year on November 25th, which is what it looks like to me. I think they're 11-0 by the time they face Ohio State in that last meeting of the year before we even get to any playoffs in the Big Ten championship. So I'm going to take Michigan over 10.5. I think they can easily get us 11 wins. And
there you go.
This, over total this season.
Here you go from Rod. Go over a 10.5 wins. 11-1 or 12-0 will do it in their regular season. Doesn't count if there's a Big Ten title game, regular season. And the tricky game, I think this one's a little tricky because, Rod, you start off with 4 straight home games, and then you play that first road game at September 30th at Nebraska. That's always tricky. I don't know if this Nebraska team can take advantage of that spot there. That's usually an angle people like to play when teams play 3 or more road games, especially when they play their first road game. Their first road game of the season will be September 30th. They would have played 4 straight home games before they go on the road against Nebraska. That one, those games are always tricky. Of course, Indiana is always a tricky game. Michigan State, where will this team be here? This will be a road game. And then actually it's a tough closeout here, right? Purdue, Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State. These are probably all bowl games. That one at Maryland is tricky because it's sandwiched between Penn State and Ohio State.
Right? The sandwich game in between those two is always the tough spot here. That closeout games are where I look and go, could they drop one of those? Sure, they could easily drop one of those 4 in closing out the season. The tough closeout of the season, I think, just as you said, they play 4 home games to kick off the year, and then that Nebraska spot, I think they don't have a problem with Nebraska. We've seen Nebraska do it. They get all hyped, and then they shoot themselves in the foot, throw some interceptions, fumble the ball, and then I've seen it ugly. I've seen it so many times. I think they have no problem with Nebraska in that one. I think they get up and ready for their first road game of the season. Harbaugh will have them ready to go in that one. He won't let them get all comfortable at home. 4 games at home, yeah, sure, you do get a little bit comfortable, but you'll have his team ready to go in that one, week 5.
Yeah, they will. Of course, I think
Michigan's got a great shot to win it all. I really do. I'm going to put a little sprinkle on Michigan to win it all.
Yeah, and they got, again, you got to look at this defense, right? This performance last year was phenomenal. I'll tell you why. Because some people were down on Michigan last year because they had only 4 returning starters. Defense was the name of this team. They had only 4 returning starters from last year, and they had a great defensive year, the best since Harbaugh was there. They gave up just 16 points a game last year with 4 starters returning. Remember that monster NFL draft where they had all those great players leave? They have only 4 starters back, and they give up just 16 points a game, which was better than when they had all those NFL guys on their team in 2021.
Which got even better, right? And I think this year's even better because a lot of those guys, over 70% of those guys are back on that defensive side of the ball. They only lost the one guy on the defensive line He went to the NFL, but the rest, that defense is still pretty much there and intact and ready to beat teams up. I think they can hold teams under 20 points a game again this season. Just as you said, it was 16 last season. I think they can do repeat the same. I think this team's even better than last year's team. And that was the question mark last season. And the defense stepped up for Michigan, and I don't know. They're going to be a tough out.
And you even got Mitch, and Mitch even admitted it was a great job by by Harbaugh, right? He finally admitted, right? He's been the biggest critic of all.
Yeah, great job by Harbaugh, which is rare. Usually he's the Mr. Choker, and how many times we were waiting for it last season, going, here's the spot. He'll choke it up. No, he just kept rolling along and stacking the wins. So. Watch out. I think the one thing that's eluded Harbaugh, the reason why he came back here and didn't head back to the NFL, is he wants that national championship.
Yeah, national championship. And that was a sour taste at the end, losing to TCU the way they did. So there is a little bit of, if you want to say, if there's something that will motivate this team to really run, to run the table, is to get that loss to TCU out of their blood, which they won't, but it's driving them. It's driving them all summer.
It's driving them all summer for sure, right? So this team, I like this team. I think they win the national championship. My pick, go with Michigan. Wolverines win.
Wolverines. There we go. The defense is solid, man. You got to respect the D there, what they've done here.
Man. It's solid what they've done on the defense.
The run defense, 3.3 yards per carry, 4.7 yards per play last year, and they had more sacks in 2022 than 2021. So there you go from Rod. Michigan over 10.5 wins for the season coming up. All right, let everybody know what's happening over at Pick Dodge Pim. We've got right here on the All-Star break. I know you're having a really good week. What are your plans coming up for the week, as Christmas in July isn't too far away?
Yeah, Christmas in July is coming up. Definitely jump aboard something there. As heading into this All-Star break, my play of the day has been absolutely fire. 31-14 heading into the All-Star break. So can't wait for Friday to jump back aboard that one. I'm looking, maybe I'll have a play tomorrow in the All-Star game. More than likely, I'll probably just give it to you guys on tomorrow's morning show or here on the drive-thru tomorrow. One of those, you'll probably just get it. I probably won't be putting it in as for sale. You'll probably see nothing over there at the premium side until Friday, when everything kicks back in. As I said, it's tough. I don't want to just don't want to pick a play just for giving out a play.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's we've been doing well this week, and we want to keep the units rolling and on the positive, and not just pick a play just for picking a play.
Right.
I will definitely make some degenerate bets and small unit bets, but premium wise. Yeah. Friday, I would back at the action with our play of the day.
Right, smaller bets generally will not be. Yeah, smaller bets will not be premium quality. So that's what I think we're saying is that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know me. Of course, we're going to bet on if the red marble goes down the track faster than the green marble. if there's nothing else to bet on, but lightly. I'm not going to bet. I'm not going to stay half my bankroll and be like, yeah, let's bet half my bankroll on the red marble. Go. Boss
that's right. Boss 420 likes periphery picks. Okay, your take here from what we saw from Canadian football last week, and what can you take into this week?
Last week, definitely got me in the one game there. Hamilton got the win. That offense was they surprised me a little bit, but the everything else hit exactly like we said. We went 3-1 on the sides. The Elks kept it close with Saskatchewan as they always do. They should have had the win there, got their first win of the season, but they choked that one away. BC looked great again, bounced back after playing Winnipeg. And when you look at this week's early action, Ottawa is going to be a tough spot here for Ottawa. No QB. He got hurt in that action this week. So when you look at this week, let's see if they got any lines up. Give me a sec. Pop this up. They do. The Elks on Thursday. I'm looking at the Elks at home, and they're playing at Hamilton. And from what I've seen in Hamilton, you know what? I got to go with Hamilton. The Elks haven't won at home in over 4 years. That streak is still going. It's the curse of the Elks since they changed their name at home. They are still winless at home since they changed the name to the Elks. So I can't get off that train. I will be taking Hamilton. Hamilton is the favorite, -2.5, so I would bet that right now. And the other game I'm looking at, I like the Argos here. The Argos have been solid as Grey Cup champs versus Montreal. Well, we see Montreal against BC this week, and they definitely got taken too. And Toronto's just as good as BC, so I would go with Toronto there. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers take on Ottawa, and as I said, Ottawa without their quarterback, he's injured. He's going to be out for many weeks. So Ottawa is going to be scrambling, looking to see if they sign a quarterback early this week. I haven't heard any news there, so I would definitely lean to Winnipeg at that one. And Calgary taking on Saskatchewan. I would take Calgary plus 3.5. Saskatchewan favored by 3.5 points. And no, that's a close take game. It always is. 3-point game there. Take the extra point. Take the Calgary points in that one.
There you go. We got games here Thursday, Friday, and then the 2 on Saturday. Canadian football. Our peripheral with picks from Rod Zawacky. All right, Rod, as always, great having you on the show. Have yourself a great evening. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Of course, we can always catch you in the morning shows.
Yeah, definitely tune in. 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Me and Chris on the morning shows. Definitely, we'll be going over tomorrow's All-Star game, so definitely tune into that. We'll give our takes on that. For me in the home run derby, I'm going to go with the favorite. I'm going to take Pete Alonso. Been there, done that. I think he always gets his guy who throws him the ball, and it's been the same guy that's thrown him the ball for how long, and they just get in such a groove. Been there, done that. He has the experience. I'm just going to go with Pete Alonso to win the home run derby. I know he's the favorite, odds on. It's still plus 3 times your money there. So give me Pete Alonso to win the home run derby. And I'm going to go with Vladdy Guerrero with the longest home run.
Longest home run. There we go. Vlad Guerrero
longest
there
home run.
From Rod.
Vlad Guerrero with the longest home run.
There you go. From Rod Zawacky here. Some more plays here from Home Run Derby. All right, Rod, have yourself a great night, and we'll catch up with you again on tomorrow's show.
Yeah, definitely have yourself a good one. Enjoy the home run derby. We'll catch everybody tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow, Rod Zawacky here on the drive. We'll continue here on our coverage here on the show. Before we get to the recap, I'll give you my pick, and then we'll let you roll. All right, we're looking here at this home run derby tonight. Yep, I'll just keep it simple here. We're going to go Mookie Betts. I think it's the value is plus 1,000 to win the home run derby. Come on, this guy's hit 26 home runs already in the first half of the season, 35 last year. 10 leadoff homers. I think he entered in the home run derby. He's a veteran. He's making good money. He's a 10-year veteran. He's in the home run derby. Doesn't need this fame, but he's in it. He's in it to win it. So give me Mookie Betts here, plus 1,000 here to win the home run derby. That is the one I want to go with in this one tonight. All right, let's continue on here on the drive-through. Let's get to the recap, and we'll let you guys go. All right, here we go. We had Brian here. He was on the Jacksonville Jaguars over 9.5 wins. David like Iowa over 8 wins. Jay went through a summer league rundown with a pick on every game. Rod here with Michigan over 10.5, and I'll be a Mookie Betts plus 1,000 to win the home run derby. The one I like the most. It's a good one. That's a good question here. Which one do I like the most out of all these picks? I think I'll have to look here at the Jacksonville Jaguars over 9.5 wins. Get to 10-7. You get the dollar to get the money. I like that one. That would be the way I would roll there on tonight's show. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here on the drive-through. Everybody up there, Mitch Morber, appreciate your contribution. Anthony Villanueva up there as well. I'm the Heat as well. Boss 429, Slicka Slim, and Marco Olia in the chat, as well as Brett B. Latifa, shout out to Latifa out there as well. And Derek Turner, Big Lucci in there as well. Appreciate everybody's contributions here in the chat and everyone here on the show. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today on the drive-thru. Remember, we'll be back tomorrow live here at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll do it all over again. We'll have scheduled picks from the All-Star Game, some possible team props. We may get some more NFL season win totals, college football season win totals. That's what we'll be sending out to the cappers, and they will come with their plays for Tuesday's show. So always fun to talk some football. We've got a little bit of everything tonight. Of course, Jay will have his NBA Summer League rundown. I will actually give him the NBA Summer League tomorrow. So we'll get a rundown from Jay in the NBA Summer League, and everybody else will have to pick from the All-Star Game or the NFL and college football season win totals, maybe some Heisman talk. They'll be able to give out the yes, no, make the playoffs. Those are some of the options that I give the cappers here this week until we get to Friday, and then we'll have baseball back again. I know we'll mix some WNBA Wednesday, Thursday when that comes back into play, but that's how we'll roll here for the next few days during the All-Star break. We'll get mix in some football season wins, some NBA Summer League rundown with Jay, and we'll be ready to roll. All right, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. And, of course, Mitch Morber likes his Pistol Pete for the longest home run there. So we got one there from Mitch. And, of course, with Rod's peripherals as well, liking Vlad Guerrero with the longest home run tonight. I remember all the great shows here in the morning here on Pick Dogs morning show, 10:30 a.m. each time of the week. You got Mitch, you got Rod, and you got Chris. Also, we got Mitch's 7 picks in 5 minutes, betting tool show, Nerfies, Your Fees as well, his professional roundtable shows as well. Don't forget with Chris, you got his home run props. We got also Ron Romanelli with his every game on the board from Major League Baseball. Of course, Jay's NBA Summer League rundown as well. Nerfies, Your Fees from Nick Menken. And of course, Brad with his parlay picks, just to name a few. Of course, on UFC weeks, we do have the UFC rundown here from Mills. And of course, Mills' prop video. Sorry, that's going to do it here for our show today. Let's bring in our crew here for today's show. Going to goodbye, guys. You guys have a great afternoon, evening. We'll catch up with you again here.